Now it says I'm streaming, but where am I streaming? Because YouTube is saying that I am offline. Okay, starting it out. There it is. And I've been live for 8-10 seconds now. Okay, so hello everybody. Today's lesson is starting now at this random time of 6:30 in the morning Eastern Time, which is middle of the night across the country, right? And the reason for going live this early is that it's Sunday, my only full day off of the week, and there's just 8 million things I want to do. And while doing them, though, I'll not be able to get off my mind that I haven't been on my channel, I need to make some videos, blah, blah, blah. So the best thing I can do is just at least give some kind of live video now, which I think I got a good one lined up today, as you might read in the title. So to just do this for about a half hour till about 7 o'clock. We'll see if I can fit what I want to say in today in that half hour, and hopefully even sooner. And let's get right to it. But there was one last thing I wanted to say, which was I also want to make edited real videos. I've been really thinking about some video content I have and how I really gotta just keep pressing with this channel to make it happen. And man, there's just no time in the day to make these videos. But at the same time, I haven't been applying myself toward them. So maybe you guys need to give me a little scream and shout. Turning up some levels here. So let me know if the levels are okay, and leave a comment below if the guitar matched up with the voice. I'm trying to make sure I always got that together, because if there's one thing I can't stand is having to crank the volume up to hear what people are saying, and then their guitar playing is heard 8 apartments over from me. So anyways, let me know if that's happening on this video. What I got today is how to jam across the fretboard, like with any mode, without having to know a whole bunch of theory. How can someone explain this to you to get you to do it as easy as possible? And for any naysayers that are on the point of, why do you want to teach people this stuff without theory? Like they should know it the real way, and they need to know this to understand it and really play it. My take is that get the students to have the fun, reap the reward, and then it becomes like, oh wow, look what you really can do. Look how that really does sound. This is kind of cool. Once you pique someone's interest, then the learning is easy. And when learning is easy, it's quick and fast. So you get people to be able to play modes anytime, anywhere, without maybe not knowing exactly how it's all happening, but they can hear it and feel it under their fingers and tell themselves, hey, I can do this. Then they start looking at what they're doing and going, hey, and putting the pieces together in their own words. Oh, okay, this means this. This is what I'm doing. This is how this works. Okay, so to do this, we'll need to take some notes. We're going to use a whole bunch of different pages here, so get ready to scribble down a whole bunch of things. Now, what I should have included here is let's consider first a guitar fretboard. All we need is a little. We're using the top 2 strings is all I want to say right here, making a long point at, so your low E, A, D, G, B, E. Consider this when you solo across your fretboard. I mean, yeah, you want to use every note, and this method will get you to use every note, but you're really, and you could almost take care of like almost the whole solo. You'd want to go down here a little bit, but I mean, you can be on the top 2 strings, for a long time. Everybody knows you solo way up here. the bottom two strings, just carrying up the fretboard. Something like that. So our method here today involves using the bottom two strings as like our main knowledge place for where we can riff around there. Anytime we get lost, just hang out here, and then what you know from here will help you go down to the lower strings in any direction using some pentatonic knowledge. So for this lesson, let's draw a couple things out here. Then we're going to need to know this scale. It's called the pentatonic. For all the brand newbies who we think we can even help out here today, and who may have clicked on this title because that's where they at as a guitarist. That's where they are at as a guitarist. So yeah, forgive the wavy hand here. There's the pentatonic box. So, the standard. You know that one. The one that you're so familiar with, you're kind of sick of it, and you wish you could break out of it, and all of a sudden, oh my God, here we're talking about it again, right? Well, relax, because it's a real good thing. Your knowledge of that is going to help you expand your knowledge today, if that made any sense. Okay, so got to keep on getting to points here. So there's our pentatonic scale: 1-4, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3. We know all that, right? Let me just flip page here instead of erasing things. Okay. One thing I suggest, go over to 12 Tones channel and watch that channel, how he, those aren't live. If he was live, he'd be rambling all over the place. Could never do, well, he would surely have a great live channel. But what I'm trying to say is that, boy, my lessons could look, my lessons could be as concise as those lessons if I just edited them instead of going live. But sorry. Let's get to the point here. I tend to do that a lot. I just OCD here. Which is kind of, I think, why I had to learn guitar like this, but that's a lot of us, I think, today. So we got the E and B string as part of a complete guitar diet here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And we want to use these top two strings to jam. Let's, let's get to what I need to tell you here. I want you to know a shape here, and this is going to take up the majority of what we need to know today. Matter of fact, to do this, believe it or not, all you need to know is this shape right here. And you say, Mark, you can't just play that up and down the fretboard. Yeah, it has a sound, but that's, wouldn't work, in any kind of key or against any song, because it was all over the place. The pattern isn't that simple on the guitar. But, however, it is that simple. Let me show you. So one thing I forgot in the very beginning of the video. Hi, it's Marco. I'm the guy that is behind the Mind's Eye Visual Guitar Method here with the growing out rock and roll hair that's just awkward and huge and bushy right now. And I have the camera up here to put a face with the videos and say hello today, but we need to see the guitar, so I'm going to lower this camera just a touch here. So I'll be out of the picture and more of my guitar. Here we go. It's basically, I'm sure, hopefully, you can grasp this method pretty easy. We're talking about anywhere on the fretboard. Here I use the dots just to show the 5, 7, 9 fret. So 5, 7, 9 on the B string, 5, 7, 9 on the E string. Now this shape is movable, so it's just an example where we put it. I did that just to make it clear for everyone what we're doing. It's what it looks like. You play a note, skip a string, play a note, skip a string. So pretty basic, right? I think a lot of people, I do that because people get lost just because this is so easy. They start to think like I'm explaining something more than I am. Okay, so We got that shape pretty easy, right? Well, all we need to do is keep this in mind. We're going to use that shape in two different places. This shape times 2. And once we do that, all we need is one other piece of knowledge to connect the entire octave up and down the fretboard, meaning you know every note in the scale, and then I'll show you where to position that. That you just move that up and down to change keys or select a key, whatever. Anyways, let's keep rolling here. Now let's put another shape just like that right next to it. Okay, so when we start our next shape, it's going to make a square right here of notes. Now, if you say, hey, how can that work? I mean, what, isn't that a half step? Yeah, and aren't there half steps in do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? There's one right here and one right here. And guess what? That's these two half steps. They actually form a box, which you've hopefully seen in other lessons of mine. And if it's new to you today, then review a whole bunch of old lessons. Anyways, or ask a question about that in the comments. So, cool thing is now, not only do we have two distinct shapes that are riffable, you can hear my horrible picking and technique that needs a lot of work, but also I'm not playing with a sound that's really conducive to picking and making it clean and cool sounding. And I just suck. Let's just get clear about that too. Let's be honest with that. My just fretting hand and picking hand, But anyways, once you get all the notes under your belt and you can effortlessly go around a scale, you can compensate for maybe not being the most technically proficient player with a lot of great note choices. And you've heard a lot of popular guitarists that play like that on the radio. And once you do get the pattern solidified in your mind, just the way that you can get across the fretboard so effortlessly makes you sound a little faster than you are. Especially since some of your licks, you might create something that gets across, a whole bunch of notes and sounds fast or whatever, about speed picking and all that jazz. Okay, speed picking and all that jazz. That's kind of like an oxymoron, right? I don't think there's any speed picking in jazz, but I would like to hear someone try to make some music that mixes like some really unusual styles, some fusion of that stuff. There probably is somewhere already, but anyways, let's keep rolling. So we got these two shapes butted up next to each other. Now we've got a big, something like a 9 fret, 8 fret stretch down the fretboard here. We actually only need to cover 2 more frets to reach this same exact set of notes. Wow, pretty cool, right? Did you ever know that this existed? So anyways, let's start this one, B string 3rd fret, and then B string 8th fret, if you heard those notes sound like they went back to a resolve, I was specifically targeting that, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So, with that being said, there's a little bit more here to cover. But, I mean, look how simple it is. Once I show you just the little piece you need to know, this is really all you need to know to just hang out on the bottom two strings. This group of notes. A lot of music to be made right there because you're playing in a major scale when you do that. Let's actually check it out here. Do we have all the notes of the major scale? Let's see. We have the 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's the 7. So look at there. You have actually doubled up complete major scale right there. And I guess since we're on the topic, we're gonna put this note here is always the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's the ultimate major scale root, but there's going to be a little bit more detail if you want to be able to put this in any mode. If you also want to, we also want to get into modes today. We're not going to think like students will get stuck on that if I just say, hey, this is the the anchor note that tells you what key this is in. That's theory, and it throws people off. So it'll get them stuck on the next part that I'm going to try to tell them. So this is the basic home note, but it doesn't have to be the home note of what's going on. I'll tell you that in a minute. Don't get lost on that. Let's consider that this shape right here that I'm drawing is the same as this shape. So, for example, there and there. So, if we put that on the, let's pick two notes here, on the E and the A. This is also an E and an A, so that should get us up to the 12th fret. Let's check. Here we are at the 5th fret. I'm sorry. It should get us up to the, not the 12th fret, but the octave higher, which is where my pointer finger is here. On the, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And for all of you going, dude, he doesn't even know that that's the 17th fret yet. I don't know. Like, I've tried to memorize that, and it just never sticks. Like 15, 17, 19, 21 are those dots, and I always have to think about that, but it never inhibits my playing because I don't need to use that to riff around on the guitar. Maybe to like read the tab if I want to learn someone else's music, and I got a guitar magazine, then we'll need to know that. So here we are at 5, fret 5. Skip 2 and same notes. So what are there any gut notes in here that we need? Yes, there are 2, and this is what you need to know in here. It's a little know your odd shape right there. And you'll find this happens in the pentatonic scale. If you just take a pentatonic scale across the bottom two strings, it's just a little incidental and anecdotal information here. Let's draw that out really quick. How will that work? Let's see. You got that shape right here that goes I guess you could draw that either way, but so you can overlay pentatonics over the major scale in different areas. So like this, for example, doesn't exactly have to be where I'm showing you, but so there's that weird shape in the pentatonic. Then you've got this under one pentatonic. Let's see, what's that other one? How does it go? pentatonic up at the top here. And you can see there's like a geometry to that. You've got this shape that interlocks with this shape, because actually these are the same two notes. And then you've got this small square. I'd call this a small square right there. Just a whole step. And then, well, there's of course your smallest square. Your next level square. And then this rectangle right here, which we all know is the bottom of the main pentatonic shape that we drew first in the lesson. I did all that just using that idea in my mind, in my mind's eye. So here we have this, and now you can get across the fretboard. Let's learn to lock it in to any mode right now, and then we'll take it down the fretboard, and we'll be out of here for this lesson. So we got 10 more minutes. Let's try to get this done in 10 minutes. We're going to take this shape, and now we need to plug in we need a little code here. It's going to have some names that are used with theory, but I still don't think this is, you're not really learning how it all works here. You're just learning to plug it in really quick, because that's all you need to do as a guitarist that wants to rock. And by the way, what I'm talking about here with playing modally here is using YouTube backing tracks. It's not the only way to play modal, but it's a way to clearly, this is what you want to do. Like, you can be pretty vague modally. Like, for example, I can just drone a low note as I jam. I droned a low E note to make a pentatonic scale, which is normally used and sounds minor to the ear when you play it, to make it sound major, because I used a different root note. That's all you need to do. That's how modes work. Your ear compares notes that are playing from the scale in the solo against notes that are playing from the bass section of the music. When you get those together, the mind makes a comparison, and those mixtures create different emotions. So, mixing different roots. And when you do learn some theory, you learn that there's major and minor, and that's really what's going on. It's really the way that mixtures create happy or sad, inversions of happy and sad, to create a little palette of emotions. So, what we need to know about this little palette of emotions, we need some definite structure there. So, I'm going to give you a couple code words and some thoughts here. What we need to do is this. You need to go to a piece of paper and write down this. I, D, P. You're going to put these in boxes, because that's how you're going to see these in the fretboard. Letters in boxes. I, D, P. You can put L. Don't skip a space when you write L. And then M, A, L. But with this L, since there's also another L being used, and we don't want to confuse both L's because they're different, we're going to put an L with an X right there, because this L will not be used very much. And that's all you need to know. There's 7 letters here. I, D, P, L, M, A, and L with an X. Put a little dash in this just to be neat about it. And we're going to give these the real names. These are the names you'll find on the YouTube modal backing track, you'll have these names. And so you don't need to know anything about them, but we just need to make a little note here and a little equation. Ionians, and we're trying not to get into any theory, just consider these fancy names to help you remember. D for Dorian. P for Phrygian. Yeah, at least I spelled it right now. I think, right? If you watch this channel, you just know I hate that name. Lydian. L for Lydian. M for Mixolydian. Yeah, they share a name, but just disregard it right now. Not really important. There's no big connection that you'll need to think about right now. A for Aeolian, I-A-N. And then LX for Locrian. And just for maybe I should have made this so we could write more. Maybe write on, when you write yours on the paper, write it off to the left here so you can write some other notes here. We want to, well, let me tell you some things here. This is in order of how they occur in the key, and when we skipped a note here, that's because we just equated this with do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, and back to do again, which we already have listed here. And so we can even write that that's the 1, the 2, the 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7. And there you have a little bit of theory, just really easy, that doesn't have to make any sense to you right now. Just if they come up, you can look back, check your notes, and go, okay, this equals that. Okay, so now that you got that written down, it's helpful to know, you might, it's helpful to know these names are classifying scales in an emotional sense. Like, it's an emotional classification. And this is for all the people that are like, no, it's this technical theory thing, and it is, but that's where most teachers get lost and get students stuck behind the mountain trying to explain modes. Because let me tell you a key right here, and check this out all over YouTube modal guitar lessons. I almost don't want to give this secret out because then teachers will change their tune. But they tell you what a mode technically is when you ask, but you're asking, how do I play a mode on my instrument? And the technical instruction or information is true, but it's not the information of how to express that emotion on your instrument. So that's where you learn about them, and then you're like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't know what the hell these things are doing. Maybe they'll come up in music later, and you just forget about them, and you move on, and you have less musical enjoyment on your musical journey. So this is the information you need to know about how to play them. You need to know, first of all, like, imagine as a painter, all the paint looked a different shade of gray. How would you know what color you were painting, right? You need some information about what color is in what little palette dish, or in little dip in your, can you picture that? You gotta have a mind's eye right now. So let's give some emotional names, and we're gonna make a chart like this. First of all, we're gonna leave out Locrian. You know why? Because Locrian is like the enigma scale. It's endlessly questioning. It doesn't really lead anywhere. It actually is trying to lead always back to the 1. There's just kind of different things. You'll eventually get to Locrian later. So we don't really need to just worry about Locrian right now. We've got an awesome palette of emotions right here to worry about, and it splits it up into a nice even 3 and 3. Let me show you. But the reason I'm showing you on a different piece of paper is this is the order that they fall that they just happen to be created. They're created from the major scale. So this is the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So this is the order that they build in, that you don't have to know anything about right now. But just know that they are in a construction order here. So that's a great way to think of it, a construction order. But you, as a player, want to know the emotional order. You need to know this too. So let's give some... let's put the I here. We're just going to use the letters now. You'll have to reference your chart there. And on the top, you want to put I. On this part, let's use lighter on this side. So we're going to use an L right here. And we're going to put a M right here. And down here, we're going to put an A. And then we're going to put a... what is it? We need a P and a D. So we need a D on one side and a P on the other side. So lim and dap. Lim and dap. Easy to remember. So down here in this row, we've got pretty much what we're going to call... This is going to be... Okay, we're right up here. Natural major, and then you've heard it definitely called natural minor. You'll find out the reason today why this is called the natural minor scale, and why this could definitely be called the natural major scale. This is the one, the do of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So there's our Ionian major scale, a regular scale, but we know that music is a lot of great tunes, a lot of think like, Free Fallin' from Tom Petty. It sounds like that's probably in the Ionian key. Closer to the Heart from Rush, probably Ionian. But also Ionian is like Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, Happy Birthday. So it's very plain. It's your plainest, probably in one sense most vanilla, although probably the most accessible. And so it depends on if you're making a song, you want to know, like, you want a generally radio accessible, popular, with a easy to grasp lyrics and stuff, and you might go for this. And if you want something more complex, then you don't go for that. So anyways, there's kind of your explanation, the best I can, of, without any theory, of natural major, natural minor. Sad natural minor songs, the riff, the solo in Stairway to Heaven. How about that one? I think you know that. Aeolian, natural minor. So, what the hell else am I talking about here? Well, here we're going to do this. On the side of the scale, let's do this. Let's draw a smile, and then here we're going to draw a frown, because this is our capital M for major, and this is our small min for minor. Okay? Just a side theory note, you don't have to know this, but if this, just to help some people ring some bells here in their mind, says, yes, these scales will all have a major third, and these scales all contain a minor third, and that is the simple reason for a happy sound and a sad sound. The third note of the scale is flat, and the third note of the scale is a natural 3. Anyways, of all these 3 and all these 3. So, now what we're going to do is do this. We're going to do some eyebrows in this one. See the eyebrows? This is kind of like a neutral state. And this is a little more aggressive when the eyebrows get this way, right? So here's our rest of our face with our happy, happy, and happy. So you can see here that natural major. You're just naturally happy. So what's Lydian? Well, you're a little more optimistic in Lydian, right? You got a little bit more hope and opportunity. It's uplifting, rising, songs about dreams, songs about angels, songs about religion. Think Free Will from Rush. Lots of songs, and lots of Joe Satriani. Guitar rock is Lydian, which gives it that extra perk. Sounds major, but it ain't plain old vanilla major. Hey, what do you know? Okay, and you'll know how to do that today. Mixolydian is like happy, but with a little bit of like like a twist to it, like a how about like a happy with like a little bit of like you got like you're gonna do a practical joke on somebody happy, right? Mixolydian song. I think I've heard that it's said that the Dead, Jerry Garcia's solos, lots of their songs are created around the 5, or the solo is around the 5 chord. I don't know, and that's getting theory-esque. So, but Mixolydian you'll find in a lot of places. You'll look at on today's lesson. Go explore Mixolydian and get it in your own ears, and then play Ionian, and then so you can hear like how they both sound a little different. Okay, the same thing here now. So what you're going to see here is this is the same chart here, the same eyebrows. A little uplifting, neutral, and a little bit more fire in the eyes, right? So these are all the sad scales, or with just a little bit more serious. So like A is just kind of maybe even just serious there. Natural, minor. Now Dorian has got a little light at the end of the tunnel. There's a little bit of a break in the sadness. Now Phrygian here has got that just pure on. It takes Aeolian and just knocks it down a bit with full on Latin-esque, Egyptian kind of rock. But it has its limitations. Because it's based on the major scale, it's not, totally pushing the envelope here. And there's other scales that are taking this a couple steps further. And those are into different scale structures, like what is it, Phrygian dominant or something, which is out of harmonic major. The harmonic system, it's a different scale system, not what we're talking about today, but a lot of examples that people think are Phrygian are some of those other scales. But anyways, it gives you that Latin sound. I bet, I don't know. Anyways, we don't want to dwell too much on that. You get this? Can you get this really quick and write this down? You can study this on your own and keep staring at it to put some meaning on it to yourself. But there's me being as thorough as I can in the minutes that I have, even though it's after 7 o'clock. We're going well past the hour here. What do we got here? So we got our emotional list today. When you want to go search out modes, you can kind of think about which one you want to explore now, which emotion which will most please you, and you'll know what you're up against. You won't be playing this Dorian thinking it's supposed to sound happy, and then when it's sounding sad, it doesn't make any sense to you, and all this, you don't know if it's right, and then it could be confusing, right? It could add to the confusion until you understand your mood order. So let's call this a mood order. It is helpful to know a mood order. It's helpful to know a construction order. Get it? Got it? Let's move back. Now, how the F hell does that all relate to this? Let me show you folks and friends just how easy it is. Because these boxes all contain those letters, and here's the thing. Those letters are locked in place. They never change. This and these boxes contain their own unique set of letters, names, numbers. Anyways, let me show you here. We've got, this is going to be our I for Ionian. Remember the IDP, IDPL. See how the P and the L are together, just like in our list here. Oops, where is it? IDP. Skip, skip, don't skip. Skip, skip, don't skip. So there's the order. You can just go right down the line. IDP. After Lydian comes Mixolydian, right? Under C is always the 4. The Lydian, the Mixolydian, the Aeolian. What's after Aeolian? That LX for Locrian, right? And then back to the I for Ionian. which is always underneath the 5, the Mixolydian. And if you wonder where all these numbers are coming from, remember we gave these things some numbers here. When you hear someone talking about the 4 chord, is related. The 5 chord, that's related. The 6 chord, that's related. The 6 chord is minor, Aeolian, minor scale. The 5 chord is dominant, Mixolydian. The 4 chord is a major scale, major chord. On and on and on. Your 2 minor chords in the Dorian, minor, Phrygian, minor. So these are all related to chords. But that's theory stuff you don't have to know today. So all you do need to know is plug in this cool formula, because what you do now, we're going to plug in the rest of this, but we got enough now to do this. You go to YouTube and you find your mode. Let's say you chose Dorian. Dorian was your favorite flavor today that you wanted to explore, and you just so happen to decide, well, let's try G sharp. I don't know, let's try go as complex as you want, because it's easy as F. Okay, so we chose what? G sharp Dorian, right? So there's our D note, or our Dorian box. That means we're going to put this box over a G sharp, and then everything will fall into place from there. Does that make sense to you? So where's the G sharp on the B string? Let's see. B. Oops. Camera. Open string B. C. D. E. F. G. G sharp. We have a winner at the 9th fret of the B string for this note. So to play in G sharp Dorian, we would play there. I was riffing in basically Dorian because I kept on going to that. I did my best to kind of keep the notes pulling back to use my ear to just guide where I wanted to go with the sounds I was making, and but keep making sure that it pulled back to. And since I started with that, I told your ear that this was the deal, G sharp minor chord. And right there, your ear goes, okay, I know those in relation to G minor. And your mind will assign an emotion to it as long as it hears a lot of the right notes keep dialing out. And there's usually, it's, the way things are organized, it's about one note that's making this stuff sound the way it does. So you're emphasizing that key note against that lower chord, and that instantly tells people, oh, Dorian. And they'll people who really listen and love music will probably assign an emotion to that, and that'll perk them up to your playing, because they're like, hey, you just sparked my emotion. You can play. And that's really what I think what is turning people's ears toward your playing when you play, or turning people away from your playing when your emotions are drifting all over the place and people can't make inner, deep subconscious sense of what you're playing. So, that being said, we can, if you want Phrygian, G sharp Phrygian, put the P over the Phrygian. If you want G sharp Mixolydian, put this M over a G sharp on your lower E string, right? So, you could theoretically, use any string and use this pattern on any set of strings. It's the same pattern, but it splits if you try to use it over the B and G string. Remember, there's a shift there, so this box breaks up. And that's why some of this stuff so easily never popped out at you or any of your guitar teachers. And until they all watch this video, right? Ha ha, look at the ego flying there. Yeah. So probably not, but it's just my method of, weirdly looking at the world like you have, like everybody has. So I know that my box here is, and we'll talk about this box in a second and how important it is always loaded with that LX for Locrian, Ionian, Phrygian, Lydian. It's 7134, always in this box. So that becomes very easy and quickly to remember. You've got basically a handle on Ionian. Once you just know these 4 notes, you've got a quick handle on Ionian, Lydian, Phrygian, and Locrian anywhere on your fretboard, as long as you memorize the notes on these 2 strings. And who doesn't already know their E string, right? Because it's the same as the top string, which is the first one most people learn. And then your other B string here, which basically at the first fret starts on a C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Nice whole notes. And see how quickly you can identify the out note when someone does start playing in scalar, starts making sense on the guitar. So, yeah, because I hit a last note there, hit a wrong note. Anyways, so what do we got here? Well, we'll copy this over here because that's always the same. And what do we have here? So after Mixolydian and before Locrian is always Aeolian, and after Ionian is always Dorian. So there you have it. Your way to lock in right now with this information. You can lock into any mode, anytime, anywhere, and play a complete octave on your lower 2 strings with just that information. I hope you realize that. And you got these 2 easy places, the easy box here, and easy box here, and then the little joiner notes here that join the same 2 boxes. Now, speaking of boxes, we're going to want to know about this box soon. However, before you even I get into a complex way to get all across the fretboard, we want to just be able to go down from any of these places. It is so freaking easy. You're not even going to believe this. But so remember that pentatonic box shape? Where is it? All right. Okay. What we need to know is this one times 3. Okay? There are 3 places that the pentatonic box fits over a major scale. I know, yep, you're blowing your mind here. Why haven't you ever been told this? I know, you're banging your head. You paid for all them lessons. So, let's draw it. We could give this a name, call it the Dorian box, but that's just, I think it's just overkill theory. You don't need to know right now. You mightn't be able to understand why I would call it that later, but you don't need to know that today to get free on your guitar in 1 lesson. Do you see why it's totally worth supporting my Patreon channel? Look what I can do for you in 1 day. Somebody please support the channel. If you're the first subscriber, because look, I got nobody right now. I had 1 person, it was really cool, but they couldn't hang out and I really wasn't feeding the channel as much as they were paying me to, so I don't blame them for curtailing that for a while. However, at the same time, if you're the first subscriber, we'll do something special. I don't know, we'll shout your name out on the channel. I'll make a keychain for you. I don't know what the hell I'll do, but actually I do have some very, very advanced lessons that will also key you in on some things about music that will help you compose music. Let's just say that around different keys and get through different keys and help you modulate and get really advanced. That I would put behind a Patreon wall and you would have access to. But that's future, so we'll see if we get any subscribers or Patreon supporters. So look, you got a pentatonic right there. You can get down from if you're jamming, you find yourself here. I was just jamming in this shape right here. Try to show you there. In between them two pencils here. There. Yeah, so that was just me. I went down and then I went up this way and ended up there. So yeah, there's one pentatonic, so what about the next pentatonic? Let's go all the way over here and fill out a pentatonic. Now, also, if you are have practiced and you're starting to know a little bit about scale shapes, you may realize that this looks a lot like that scale shape you've been taught is called the Dorian shape, right? You don't have to, let's not worry about theory today. Doesn't matter if you know that name or not. Still be able to do what you can do today without knowing that information. But that is true. And so you may know how to plug in the rest of the notes. Let's get there in a second. Let's go here and get these pentatonics filled out. There's number 2. You build up from right here. You notice what we're doing is we're using everywhere where there are 4 boxes between notes. It's not everywhere. Like in between here and here, you have notes are 5 boxes apart. But in these spaces right here, see where I put this one? In between those, and there's the second one. Now, where's that third one? Well, it's tangled up in blue, right? Oh, that's Dylan. It's tangled up with this pentatonic here. So we are going to show you the brackets there and there, or right here and right here. Try not to write over everything. That also has a pentatonic shape. So we're using this as the back wall there. By back wall, I mean the back wall. And we'll make the front over here. So we got as is above, so is below. So let's include that note. Now look at how many notes we have just doing 3 pentatonic shapes. We almost completely have the rest of the fretboard filled out. We're just missing, I think, only 2 notes. But anyways, so you can go down, put my shape over the G. Oops, wrong note. I added in just a couple notes at the end that I knew, but otherwise, that was getting around the fretboard. And let's highlight. We're just going to kind of put a little blue tint on that one over here. You can give these names because they do, they are the shapes that you've been taught by your guitar teacher as single shapes that don't connect or make any sense with each other. This is the exact mechanics of how they connect and interconnect, and how easy it is to get them to sit in a stable map that allows you access to any direction on the fretboard. And these names are here. That one would be called Dorian. That one is called the Phrygian scale. As you see here, the lower root note starts on the D for Dorian. This pentatonics is starting, if you consider that the starting note, it's the P for Phrygian. And this one is A for Aeolian pentatonic. All three are housed here. But you're going to use the method I told you before to express those real modal sounds. There's just a construction-based naming convention going on here, and that's why students get confused. They're like, oh, wait, you said Dorian scale, Phrygian scale. Is that what I do to play Dorian? No. That's just the construction diagram explanation. But to play them is to connect them like this. Put that note, because see, that's going to be the reason you do that. So let's say you go to a YouTube channel and you find you want to be in you want to play in Lydian in the key of A. So you want to play A Lydian, right? I just had this point. If I review the lesson, I'll be like, bonehead, how the fuck did you forget what you were saying? But anyways, you'll want to you'll be able to plug that in anywhere. It's not the construction name, it's just, it'll work. You'll have the Lydian sound all across your fretboard by, like, for example, plugging this into the over the note, plugging this letter L over the A note would create a Lydian, and you would be able to play in that backing track on YouTube. And this is what I was trying to say. God damn. Overall, when you are jamming on this, you find out, you lock in on a jam on YouTube, and you're like, hey, this does work. Listen to how great all these notes sound. What's really going on is that this A note, this is the bass note of the piece you're playing. So all your notes are being compared to the bass note, which is here, and so that's going to create a Lydian sound. Or for example, you can put this shape, play this, mount this anywhere on the guitar fretboard you feel comfortable with. And if you play a bass note, you just take a keyboard and hit the sustain pedal and lock in whatever note is here on the low key, and even the high keys, even both. And you play the rest of the scale, that simply you're going to have that basic modal sound. But it'll really get emphasized more on some of these backing tracks on YouTube. Make sure you're not dealing with a look up modal backing track. Make sure you're not dealing with one that is modal fusion or is jumping keys or anything. You don't want to do that right now. But I'm pretty sure if you just type in G Mixolydian backing track, one will pop up, or a few will pop up. A few pretty good ones will pop up that aren't that are straightforward and not confusing and won't confuse you. Let's plug in a couple notes here, go over a couple of other things, and then I got to get out of here. We've got 4 notes in a box here. Well, there's a box system that you can use to plug in the rest of the notes here. The box has a formula. I've gone over this on 8 million other lessons, so I'm going to just try to be as quick as possible here. Here's the basic, some rules of the box. The box always connects in this direction on the fretboard, and it connects corner to corner. Okay? The only time it won't connect corner to corner is when you're at the string shift between the G and B strings. So that would create a space here that would look like that. Now, hopefully that looks familiar to you, because if I add notes here, if I had a pentatonic box here, actually, just like we did before where that square was on the fretboard, we've got the Dorian scale, every note of it. We've actually got the Ionian, whatever scale, whatever root note you want to pick. But anyways, we've got a complete series of notes. We've really just got one repeating. It's the square, and these notes are the same. It's the square, and same relationship notes, and the square, and the square, square, square. This happens 2 times on the guitar. However, one of the rows is an even row, where it's on the first 2 strings, the middle 2 strings, and the bottom 2 strings. The second time it does this in this direction is the odd rows, where it uses the bottom string. The bottom string is split. If there was another string on your guitar, the box would be there. Same with the top, since it's also the E string. Let's say this was the E string right here. You'd have to have a B string to have these notes. So you have then the box is on the middle 2 strings. That's all you got left before you connect to the outside strings. You've got 4 strings, so room for a box here and room for a box there. And this is where it can get a little tricky. So that second box, as per the rules, does connect corner to corner. However, it doesn't jump out to your mind's eye because the B string shift is right there, and it breaks the box. So the box shifts like that. Then you've got another box over here, and it's really cool because I didn't draw that to scale, so we're 1 fret shifted over. It would have been nice because then I could have showed you how that the middle box here, the upper one I just drew, is connecting right in. It's part of the other box system here. So once you back out of this system, you're already connected into this system. So basically anywhere you are in the fretboard, you're connected to the other parts. There's really no other way to well, actually what I want to say is that once you basically then know all the notes that are inside the scale that you need, all you have are 5 outside notes, and now you have under your control some what I call spice notes, some slide-in notes, some notes you can use to jazz up the sound. So I chosen that note that was outside the scale. I just played this box right here, and I slid in at the end from that note to that note. So let's hear it again. Here I'll start this L at the 7th fret, B string. I think my guitar went down, my chair went down, I bet it went down. Yes, my inexpensive Walmart chair is a piece of shit. Okay. You can use those as quick slide-ins, or else it just sounds like... gives it a little bit more of a finish. So, alright, let's get down the scale, because, like I said, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Square box. Same. The square box is not a different box. It's that exact series of notes. There's another I, L, P, Locrian, and as suggested here. And then, right here, you're connected to this and this particular box because, see the yellow? See how they're the same? As is above, so is below. You've got the broken box. If you've got a full box above, you've got a broken box below. When you've got a broken box below, a full box below, you've got a broken box at the top. So, let's go in reverse. Let's not build it this way. Let's build it from here. We've got this is our even squares. So we've got, this group, creating nice, evenly perfect boxes. Here we've got a broken box. Here we've got a full box that acts like a broken box. Because of the B string shift, we've got to take this stuff and go all the way over there. So we've got these two notes right here, which are what's above L and P, L and P, L and I, LX, Locrian and Ionian. And then, obviously, we already filled in those. Where's our next box? Because this box is all we need to do to get the rest of the notes. We've got these notes available here. We've got a box shape up there. And here's our LX note, our Locrian note, connects to that P. As you see, the row here, it's the tritone row. So this row always goes, if you travel in this direction on the guitar, it always goes, it's only two notes. So look at that. Lydian, Locrian, Lydian, Locrian, Lydian, Locrian. Pretty interesting, huh? That's your tritone row. When you have a root note, let's see, where's our root note? That would be here, C. Notice there's something outside the scale here. That's the flat fifth. That's the devil's interval, if you've heard of that. Or if you've heard of tritone substitute, well, that's where that's happening. Here's your 1. Oh, I put a C there, and sorry about that, because I'm always thinking, like lessons are always usually in C major scale. So that's our I for Ionian, forgive me. And so we've got, just like an incidental note here, these are antidotes, I believe. Like 1, flat fifth, root, flat fifth, root, flat fifth. Make sense? Okay, back to the business here. L, so what I was getting at is L, P, L, P, L, P, and L. Something just went wrong. No, it didn't. Oh, the string shifts threw me off. So we got L, 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 right? Okay, so, yeah, dealing with a string shift there. Otherwise, you've got all your L's in a row. Put all your L's in a row. So maybe I'll make a box video and call it the L connection. Screw everybody up. So there you go. You got a square box there, and these square boxes just populated the whole fretboard. You've got all 7 notes of the major scale anywhere. So like once you're going down in those, so if I find myself when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Sorry. Do you do that as a musician? Like my boss says something and a song comes into my head and I can barely listen to what they're saying because my mind turns on a fucking song that I've heard 8 million times. Anyways, great song though. Beatles. Like when I see this shape down here, I just automatically know. That's Aeolian. I'm in the Aeolian box. And when I see this, when I know I'm in my Dorian Phrygian area. It's so easy now. Once you can give those places names and little territories, it's easy to populate them, and you've populated the entire fretboard. You're done. It's basically Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian. You can play like in between those. You can choose like a series of notes that kind of fall in between those that probably have it like the Lydian scale is what the name would be if you started with that L and you just played some weird group of notes there. You can do that, but to me it adds a whole lot of level of complexity that's just simply not needed there. I'm never playing a solo thinking about one of these shapes. Other than like to get around, I'm not choosing the notes based on like, oh, I need my Lydian scale here. Well, I need the Dorian scale to sound like this. Meaning, I need like this shape. No, I never think like that. I'm just kind of, I know the shapes, and then I know the sounds that they make now. And so now I'm just navigating to sounds, and I just simply know how to step there. It's like you're learning a staircase that has a weird step in it. And once you learn the staircase, you can talk with your friends up the staircase and not have to think about falling down over the weird step. That's the same thing with this fretboard. You are learning these weird steps, and those kind of then go unconscious, and you can listen to the conversation of music in the background and respond to that, like call and response. Wow. Blowing your mind here? So, anyways, this is a super slick trick way to get into the art of soloing. I don't know. Let me wrap. Okay. Let me get up for a second. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do 10 more minutes of lesson here, and that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go get my cell phone. I'm going to plug it in. We're going to just type in a modal backing track, and we'll plug in this formula and see if it works. And if there's anyone out there that's been listening or watching this, usually 0, I'm going to check out right now if I got any comments. Do I have anybody? Nobody's watching. Okay. So I was going to say if there was anyone out there, tell me about a mode. You pick a mode, pick the mode you want, but think about it while I'm gone. Okay, here we go. Where am I? Okay, here I am. And let us commence to get to YouTube. Get plugged in here. I got a handy dandy plug-in cord that theoretically should get me to be able to hear some modal stuff here. Did you guys pick what mode you wanted yet? Oh, we got what do we got? We got Jerry out there in the audience. We got Fred. Josie, when she comes home, she's gonna pick a mode with some fire in her eyes. What are we gonna do? Let's search out. All right. What did we say earlier? Let's do a weird note. What's a weird note? Okay, we'll go for A sharp, right? Which would be, or also B flat. Same thing. What do you want? Mixolydian. Let's play Dorian. Let's do Dorian. Or Lydian. Do we want Lydian? Let's do Dorian. There we go. I just put down B flat Dorian in there. The first thing comes up is B flat Dorian backing track. Let's check it out. What do we get? Let's see. Get out of here. Messenger. Greasy Funk Jam. Backing track in B flat Dorian. And some of these, now that's a new brand, like a new channel. And some of these, sometimes they're actually, you find out they're somehow not correct. But let's see what this is. Petty backing tracks. Oh. Down should come on here in a second. Perfect. Here we go. Okay, so we chose B flat, right? So we need a B flat. Where's that on our B string? Well, that's pretty easy, right? There's B. You see how shitty that sounded? So here's B flat. Ah, look how good that sounds. Notice one fret away. Victor Wooten trick. You definitely hear a wrong note if I played one and then all the right notes. You can hear how that plugged in. All I did was plug my D note here onto the B flat, so I played that D note there, based on the 11th fret of the B string. It puts my square right there. Then I went down into played a little blues riff on in my pentatonic box there. Then I might go into the box again. And you don't want to resolve on that LX note, so which I almost did. So I quickly slid it down there and sounded like I knew was making that resolve, even though it's a little clumsy. I could easily do what I did there because I knew I just switched my square box. Now I'm going back up pentatonic. I might jump jump around here a little bit, just to sound a little bit, moving fourths there. If I get a little bit boring sounding or sounding like I'm playing the same old riff, jump a couple of, just surprise people with a totally different note and then resolve it to a different note, and all of a sudden sound kind of cool. Was moving backwards, and then moving backwards takes me to a square here, I'm in this Phrygian shape. Something like that. So, yeah. You can do that. Let's do another one. That's a good one. I like that. Greasy Funk Jam. I like this one. Like that sounds cool, but all of a sudden it got a little boring, so I just went surprise you with a different interval. Not a whole lot you can do, but you get creative, do your things. Right. Well, I'm gonna leave you with that. I think you guys can handle doing something with that. If anyone ever even watches this video, I mean, look at the magic that's sitting there on YouTube. People are just not even gonna sadly ever find. If this helped you, please leave a comment below, because that helps me understand, like, is this worth pursuing? Is this something I should even spend time doing? Does anyone need this? Will anyone ever subscribe? I mean, there are subscribers, and I thank you guys. You guys are awesome. The people who have subscribed, please remember, as everyone says at the end of their video, to like and subscribe. And But check out Patreon and see if you can see what you can do there, or throw a donation. I think there's even a donation link down below. So check out all those things. If this helped you help the channel out, get better equipment, a better camera, that would be maybe a little less fuzzy. We always need a supply of graph paper, new pencils, and better lighting, better place to do this, and more time to be able to dedicate to doing this stuff, man. Editing videos, if you guys don't do this, editing videos takes a day of your life. And I don't know about you, but like everyone, bills got to get paid, so you got to get paid for your work. So the only way to do this is to be paid to do it. So that's you, or to be supported. Let's not even say pay, because everyone gets all freaked out. But say supported on YouTube. So or supported on Patreon. So think about it. Especially think about it if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how this just helped me. That being said, have a great Sunday. Hopefully it's hot as hell where you are. It's going to be pretty hot here today, so get out early. Go do something with a classic car. Go see my other channels. What is it? The Red Spider. Check out that. About a little red car I own and also spend time with. Yeah, budget DIY guitars. I should link all my YouTube endeavors down below. Have fun, everybody. Take care. I thank you for watching.